Hey, Alice. I thought I'd see you at some point today. You walked in at a good time. I just sat down with Sidney Mays. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Absolutely. Escapism is out now. All streaming platforms.
That's right.
And then you've got a show July 1st. Remind me where that's at.
July 1st at the Buffalo River Resort in Perry County, Tennessee. Hometown show.
Hell yeah. Do you like playing hometown shows, or do you prefer not to play there?
Oh, I love hometown shows, yeah.
You get it you get to be with people that saw you coming up and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing about it is there's, back home, there's not a lot of places to play is the only thing.
Yeah.
But every chance I get, yeah, I love it.
And then you're playing Mule Day at the Mule House, August 18th.
Sure enough.
That's, I like I was telling you earlier, I spent a lot of time in Columbia. I was out there for 6 years, so.
Nice.
Mule Day is like a fucking bitch if you live there, because it's everyone has carts and wagons, and they're just in the road with the cars, so.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, definitely give yourself plenty of time to get there, because it's a fucking bitch to get it anywhere during Mule Day.
Will do.
It's yeah, Mule Day is a thing. They really go hard for motherfucking Mule Day out in
Maybe we should hop out there.
bunny hop out to
To Mule Day.
the squad up. I'll go to Columbia.
Squad.
Cart and buggy type shit. We'll have to rent. Can you rent a horse and buggy like you can a car?
I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Dress up as Mennonites.
Are Mennonites? That's like Amish, right?
Yeah.
That's the more, I believe that's the more extreme Amish.
Yeah.
The more very much no electricity, no, none of that.
Ain't paid their phone bill since 1799.
Yeah.
When did you first pick up guitar?
I was 11. My dad played. He was a great player. And I come from the Guitar Hero generation, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah. I played a lot of Guitar Hero too. My mom is a really good piano player, and she tried to teach me when I was a kid, but I just didn't have the discipline. I wanted to play video games instead.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a couple of things, but
Same here.
did you learn from your dad?
No, not really. He tried to show me a G chord when I was 8, but my fingers just would not do it. That just wouldn't happen. So I played drums briefly, and then when I was 11, that's when I took it serious.
What kind of music did your dad listen to when you were growing up?
Well, he grew up in the 60s, so he was all about Pink Floyd, Hendrix, the Beatles, the Stones.
Hell yeah, man.
Early Zeppelin.
That's good influence at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You got introduced to the greats.
Yep. But when I first started playing, it was, for some reason, I just went straight to Metallica.
As in Kurt Hammett or James Hetfield?
James Hetfield. I mean, obviously it takes both of them, but.
Right. But there is a preference there.
Yeah.
You can even go back and throw. What do you think about
Mustaine? He made some killer riffs.
I mean, he's a great player.
Yes.
I saw them live once, and it's pretty wild.
Awesome.
And I'm not even that big of a fan of theirs, but it's worth seeing.
Heck yeah.
We I did an episode a couple years ago with two drummer friends of mine, and we did the whole time they were just shitting on Lars Ulrich. The whole episode just.
Oh, I remember that. I think I was involved in that.
The St. Anger Snare.
Yeah. That was the same one where we were doing you seen Hot Ones?
Yeah.
We were doing a mock Hot Ones thing where my friend had all the Hot Ones sauces, and we just we put it on chicken, and there's a clip on YouTube of him being he accidentally touches his eye just on the corner here, and he's I would just like to warn everyone, don't touch your eyes. And as he's saying, as the words are exiting his mouth, you can see me just going with both my hands like this.
Oh, no.
And then I'm oh. And then there's 10 minutes of the episode where you can just hear me screaming in the background.
I think you were getting milk poured
Tiffany
in your
was,
eyes.
I had my head on the back of the sink like this, and Tiffany was pouring milk. I was holding my eye like this, and Tiffany was pouring milk into my fucking eyes. And we kept the show going. So
Yeah, I remember that.
I gotta hear that one.
That was a time. I wouldn't do it again. 1 out of 10, do not recommend putting a hot sauce, what was it, Mad Dog, whatever, in your eyeballs.
Unless you're David Goggins.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably enjoy the pain. David Goggins, dude, I love David
I
Goggins.
do too. He is something.
It's something I really like about him is he's like, I'm not special. He's like, I used to be like not in good shape, and I just decided one day to go do this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, there's nothing special about me, and I always think that's something really cool about like his message. Is like he's like, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, so you got no fucking excuse. Get the fuck out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There was one clip I saw where he's like in 100-degree weather just running, and he's doing like a live thing for TikTok, and he's like, y'all want to know why I'm out here? I'm out here because you're not.
Yeah. So hardcore.
What you said Metallica, like outside of that, who are like really big influences for you?
So, altogether, I would say my biggest influences of all time is Tears for Fears and Hendrix.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you on the difference of their guitar-wise, your influence, and then music writing-wise. But I guess that's what you were just saying there. Because, I mean, Tears for Fears obviously great musicians, but they're not known for guitar. You know, Jimmy obviously, I mean, also one of my favorite guitar players, but probably one of my top favorite composers of all time, too, because he was really much more than...
And that ain't talked about enough, man.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everyone talks about how Jimmy just fucking shreds, but like he's also a great songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been listening to in like the last week? Just like in the car and stuff.
Last week, a little bit of The Cure, just random stuff. A band called Hers. If you've ever heard of them.
Hers? Mm-mm.
They were a really, really great, like, I guess indie pop kinda.
Hmm.
You ever heard that song What Once Was?
Maybe if I heard it.
It was big on TikTok. But anyway, I like that band a lot.
I was listening to Bowie today. I love Bowie.
Classic.
Yeah. What else was I listening to? I was listening to Bowie and...
Tame Impala's another favorite.
Yeah, Tame Impala's great. And I was listening to Yes. That's the other one I was listening to. Roundabout. And the DuckTales theme song.
Really?
I saw the post about that, about you talking about the bass line, and I was remembering it in my brain, thinking, I don't think I ever thought about the bass line.
That DuckTales theme song has no business going that fucking hard. Like, it's so good.
Like, I ever paid attention to it.
So, hard segue.
Mm-hmm.
You have any ghost stories? And I guess when I say that, do you have anything that, like, happened that you can't explain?
Not to me personally, but I've heard a few that are just really far-fetched.
Yeah, that's a problem with that kind of stuff. Is like, so like I do believe in spirits, and I've seen some crazy shit, but I don't believe in poltergeists. Like, I don't think something can just move this table by itself.
Yeah.
Like, I think like I've considered what I would I've experienced what I would consider like bodily possession and like channeling, but like I don't think something can. So every time I've interacted with a spirit, it's like so excited to be interacting with you because it gets to use a body. Like, it doesn't usually get to do that. And that's why I'm like, okay, like if you're a spirit and you could just move this table, why would you care about being in a person? It's like the whole point of a body is you can interact with the world.
Right.
So I'm not, I mean, I've heard, you know, like, that's something I ask everyone, and I've heard a lot of poltergeist stories, but I've never seen anything like that myself, and I'm just skeptical of that.
There's still time.
Yeah, there's still time. We're gonna summon some spirits right now. Where do you think people came from? Like, I guess different from animals.
And you didn't tell me about this part of the podcast. Where do I think people came from?
And I guess no one really knows, right? But does anything make more sense?
Or even more clearly, if it's easier to put, the separation. Do you think we were an evolvement from an ape. You think it's a stoned ape theory. You think ape ate a mushroom, and generations later, you think aliens dropped down and put something in the water.
No leading the suspect.
Yeah.
No leading.
I personally believe the Adam and Eve story. I mean, I find it super hard to believe that we were just here randomly. That's like the same probability of like a plane assembling itself. It's just I don't really buy that, but
yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. Like, it's very complex. I definitely do believe that there's some kind of either spiritual or like alien involvement with people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the stoned ape theory?
The stoned ape? I don't think so.
So basically, it's the idea that like monkeys took mushrooms, and that made
during one of the ice ages when they had to migrate, they're looking for food.
Yeah.
So they were eating whatever they could when they ate mushrooms that contained psychotropic substances. It started hallucinations, which caused geometric patterns. And from that the idea is that animal began to increase its pattern recognition. And that's one of the separations of humans and animals, is that we have massive pattern recognition, in our concepts.
With faces and shapes and so forth.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a great theory, but like anything, you can't prove it, but you also can't really disprove it.
Right. It's interesting.
As far as like writing process is concerned, like, where do you think art comes from? Do you think that's comes from something else, or does that like start with you? Or
I honestly believe it comes from God, and I believe we are like the transmitters that just, it's like, to me it's like fire or electricity, like nobody makes it, you just discover it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
So it's like, correct me if I'm like, I think like kind of what you're saying is like there's like this energy, but then like it has to go through you, and that makes it, so it's kind of like you're kind of working together almost to like bring that into the world.
Existence,
yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Like,
you're the conduit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not a musician, but I write poetry, and I'm working on a novel right now.
Nice.
And like usually, I can't like make myself like sit down and write something, but like something will come to me.
Inspiration.
Usually when I'm doing something else, like driving or something, and then it's like, I gotta stop and like do this, because it's like, it's fleeting, like
Yes.
you've got to grab it while you got it, kind
Absolutely.
of thing. Yeah.
That same thing happened to me. I worked in a factory for a little bit, and during that time, like, it was just a normal day, and like a melody came to my mind. I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down. And I pulled out my phone real quick on my voice memos, and I recorded like the hook. And later that day, I finished it, and it's actually my most streamed song so far. It's called "Talk of the City."
Hell yeah.
And it's totally random. You just never know.
You find that like when you're working or doing something that absolutely keeps you away from being able to create, is that's when things fly in your head?
It definitely can be then, for sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's always that
Right.
way, but it kind of almost seems like that when it does happen, because it's just like, oh shit, and then if you ever make the mistake of going, oh, I'm going to remember that, it happened to me the other day. I sat down, and I was like, oh shit, what was that thing I was supposed to remember?
Been there, done that. Like in the middle of the night when I wake up, it's like, oh yeah, I'll remember that when I wake up, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Never remember it again.
I've made that mistake too, where it's like, yeah, I'll work on that tomorrow, and it's like, what was I even thinking about? Is Talk of the City on Escapism?
Yes, that's track number 5, last one.
Hell yeah. So, is that a how long were you writing Escapism?
How long? Well, I had most of the ideas like way before I even planned to make an EP. I just didn't really know what to do with them, really. Like, before I even got the idea, I was just mostly a player. you know, and then like some life tragedies happened, and it shifted my focus from just playing to really just writing for a while. And I'm just now getting to where I'm playing more, but during that time is when I really became a songwriter, I think.
It's interesting how often like that's the case.
Is
like
it?
Something traumatic like awakens you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what your experience with psychedelic drugs is, but I think that's what happens there too.
Mm-hmm.
Is like psychs aren't always fun. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting.
It can be too introspective, I guess.
Yeah, like it can be really hard, and I think that itself is almost like a kind of trauma that you're subjecting yourself to. But I think that's a big part of where like the artist comes into themselves is like usually it's something that happens.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how many times I've like that's been the answer is like you know they didn't even want to like so for me it's like I like making art isn't a choice for me. Like I have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's necessary. Is that something?
I feel that.
Yeah. It's like you don't have another option. This is what you have to do.
Yeah, like that is your pop-off valve.
Yeah. I think there's probably that innate power in everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but then it takes some kind of event like to spark it.
Yeah.
And then like that's when you really come into your own.
Agreed.
If you what is the definition of art? If you had to like explain it, like what would set like I know I'm hitting you with like big questions,
You're good.
but it's like I don't think I know the answer really, and I like to get different people's ideas about it.
Give me a second.
As we fall down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, we've definitely fallen down there. The definition of art.
Because like we were talking before about how it's something you grab hold of, but what is that? And I know like you said it comes from God, and I would agree that it definitely comes from a higher source.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. We call it art, but I don't think anyone really knows even what we're talking about when we say that. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a definition for what art is, but art itself is the idea would be that the definition would be an interpretation.
I would say my definition of it is the human expression or human expression by which words fail. You know, it's something that you can't really describe. It's just there.
It's a way of communicating.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
I think where standard communicational words fail, because obviously there's poetry
Mm-hmm.
and song, but yeah, it's
when you can't explain it normally, it's like you have different routes of doing that.
Right.
Music itself is a very like it's a language.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When there's like a piano at an airport full of people that are just from all over the planet and like nobody speaks the same language, and somebody hops on a piano and everybody will start smiling and whatever, singing along and having a good time.
Yeah, that's magic for sure. Do you think? Okay, so we've established we both believe in spirits outside of this dimension, like outside of this plane of existence. What do you think about like extraterrestrials, like outside of this planet, but still in the physical universe, like just from outer space? Pretty much everyone I've asked this has said that, well, there's got to be life out there somewhere. So I guess more specifically, do you think aliens have ever been here or are currently here?
I would say I believe they've been here. It would be hard for me to say they haven't. Especially you look at things through history to where we have no explanation for.
Yeah.
You know, like, maybe it can be explained, but it hasn't been explained in a way that I've been able to understand it, like the pyramids.
That's one of my go-tos.
I don't. How? You know?
Exactly. How? Fucking how?
I don't care how many grown men you have carrying one of those gigantic freaking blocks or whatever.
They're finding them all over the world now too, like
Really?
yeah, like the ones in Egypt are easy to see because it's in fucking sand.
Yeah.
But there's ones in China that the government like doesn't want people to know about, and it's covered up in grass like it's a mountain. But if you look at it, you're like, no, that's not a mountain. Look at the shape of that. That's not
ancient growth. Also, Egypt didn't have anything. It turned desert. So there was nothing growing over top of it. They just had to uncover some. Some of the pyramids out there, when they first found them, were covered,
buried. Yeah.
You know, but it's like you're saying, you know, one in the jungle. The jungles of South America, they're made of stone, but they were also much newer or much more freshly discovered. You know, whereas like you're saying in China, there's stuff over there that nobody can know about because they don't let things known to the world.
Right.
And then if it's in a jungle over there somewhere, it's been getting overgrown and they're not letting the people even go mess with it, you know.
Well, it's stuff like that, man, that you just can't naturally explain.
Yeah, I totally agree. With me, like how is the big question with the pyramids, and then also why.
Yeah.
Because this is a huge thing. Like, it's...
Was it just to make us question it?
Yeah. Like, you know, on, like, the $1 bill, there's a pyramid on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like, a glowing eye at the top of it. And, like... Alice, have you ever seen a $1 bill before? Probably not. This is a rare artifact.
Wow, let me see it.
Holy shit. But there's the glowing eye at the top. And I think it was Neef that was telling me that there used to be, like, quartz on the top of it.
Yeah, I heard that there was, and I haven't looked into this any further, but apparently the top of the pyramid and also down within it, there was a core made out of a giant chunk of quartz. And at night when the moonlight would hit it, it would refract, go down, reflect, return, refract outward, and it would actually light up the sky. And that's why the pharaoh was seen as a god, because he could turn night into day, you know, with that power. And that's why you see the luminescent eye. But the reason that it is separated goes to the theory behind what it is that illuminated eye, the all-knowing, is not part of us. It is removed from everything. It is lifted. So that is the illumination. And that's the idea that is whoever is controlling everything isn't a part of everything, which actually goes back to quantum physics.
Damn. And that's kind of... That's a crazy thing to put on the dollar. Because it's like, we control you, we're above you, we are separate from you.
And only on the dollar.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's odd.
Have you seen the... Neef, do you have a 20?
No, you know, I'm broke.
I might. Have you ever seen the trick with the $20 bill? I'll have to pull it up. There's a bunch of weird shit with money.
We've shown Alice before.
I know. You're like, God damn it, don't do this again.
It's basically
you can fold it and it makes the Twin Towers and they're on fire.
it looks just like the picture of them burning.
I'll pull it up.
And when you look at either side where United States of America is written, United is on the side, it says United on the side of where a United plane hit, and America on the side where an American airline hit. But it's the picture that it makes is so uncannily it's freaky.
Like,
really
how
is.
did the Simpsons know?
Yeah, that's probably where they got it from. Macaroni.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah. But yeah, so obvious. I mean, like, first of all, the building, right?
Yeah, that's freaky.
United Airlines hit this building. American Airlines hit this building. This version of the 20 was made in 98. So it's like, this shit's planned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it raises the question, like, why would you do that? And it makes me wonder, like,
I don't much believe in coincidence. So
yeah. So it's like, okay, so they planned 9/11, but why the fuck would they put it on money, you know? It's like someone's eventually going to figure that out and notice that. And it makes me wonder about, like, have you ever heard of a sigil?
Sounds familiar. What is it?
So basically, this is kind of a tangent, but subliminal messaging is a thing. You can, Coca-Cola,
They use it for like marketing and stuff.
yeah, they got in trouble because they put one frame. Basically, people were watching a movie, and for one frame, it said Coca-Cola.
They were trying that back in the 50s and way back when they were first testing that, and then companies were, after they tested it, companies were trying to use it, and they deemed that, they were like, you can't do that. It's not.
Basically, people, when they tried this, people got, like, they didn't even know that they saw it. Like, they didn't know that they saw the words Coca-Cola, but just for a frame, they saw it, and then immediately got up and went and got Coke. And it's like, so a sigil is, you take a word or a phrase. So, like, if I took Sidney Mays, and I, like, took the S, and then, like, put an I in it, and then, like, put a D around it, and then, like, put an N kind of, like, sideways next to it. It's like you wouldn't know that you're looking at that word, but subconsciously...
That's how you perceive it.
Yeah. So it's like you're getting this message, but you're not even aware that you're getting this message. That's kind of, I think, maybe why they do shit like that with the 20 and stuff like that, is you're putting this idea in people's heads without them even knowing that you put that idea in their heads.
That's far out, man.
It's a crazy world that we live in.
if you take the 9/11 theories all the way to the head to where it's thought that planes never actually hit it, that was all fabricated.
Jet fuel can't melt steel beams.
That would actually make more sense that it was on there, because that, in the conspiratorial, in a conspiracy theorist mind, would make that, when a conspiracy theorist is thinking, no, planes never actually hit it, y'all are right. Somebody shows them that, they're like, well, then it had to have happened, because see, it's in the dollar bill here.
Wasn't there something else that happened
It's
before?
counterintelligence.
That's a good point. Sorry, what?
No, you're good. Wasn't there something else that happened before 9/11, like at the World Trade Center? Like the bases blew up or something?
Oh, yeah.
McVeigh blew the crap out of it, killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was no Oklahoma City. That wasn't World Trade.
Okay.
Oklahoma City, but that was another good point with that, because like almost a third of the base of the building was gone, but it didn't collapse. I mean, like an arc of the bottom. And I think there was a daycare there.
Damn.
For like the employees. And
yeah,
and
that's rough.
It's coming back to me now.
Yeah, he had a truck full of fertilizer.
Shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's that weird footage of Bush reading to kids during 9/11.
Oh yeah.
They walk up and tell him.
They're like, what were the words they had the kids read off? It was like, it was like steel,
it was freaky.
Like plane, like things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. It's a weird world, and I think there's like shit going on that, like, if the public knew, would like cause mass hysteria. Like spiritual intervention, like demons and things like that, like heavily involved in the way things play out in the world. Yeah, we live in a bizarre world, in a bizarre time. I think I'm sure every generation has felt this way, but I think we're at like a really important time in history, because like technology is not like a steady progression like this. It's like for a long time, you know, we kind of like went up like this, and then we discover electricity, and it's like boom,
Right.
telephones, boom, cars, telephones, and then it's like keeps going up, and then now we've got AI, which is its own. Like, oh, you thought electricity was a big boom.
So
Well,
insane.
AI is like boom, and we're just at the beginning of it. Like with electricity, it's like, okay, the world's going to be completely different in 20 years. Now it's like the world could be completely different like next week.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just impossible to plot like how things are going to play out. I saw a thing today. I was and I've heard about this before, but they're trying to do away with paper money.
Mm-hmm.
Like
They're actually, the U.S. government, I believe this week, is starting it's Fed something program, which is basically digital currency controlled. And what they're going to do to pilot it is they will say, kind of like when you get a job now and you have to get direct deposit with them, they're going to do that with government employees. They're going to say you have to get paid under this form, this system, because they can't force the public to do it. And then what they'll do is then they'll say, okay, if you need to get any money from the government, if we pay a citizen any money, then they'll say, okay, or your income tax returns. You know, yeah, we'll give them to you, but they're on this. You need to sign up for one of these accounts. And that's how they will eventually, you know, it's just like they do now with, you know, I hate the tap. That makes me feel like my card is very unsecure, that it can be read. And it's been able to be read for a while now, but it just, you know, I don't like that, but I can't do anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
My bank sends that to me. You know, the systems use that. I mean, there's places you can't bring cash to now to go eat, you know, so.
the business I work for is going no cash too. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I forgot. Go ahead.
You're good. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. It's just like that way they'll be able to control what you spend on what. This is already a thing in China, is they have a social. It's a social credit score. So basically, it's not like, you know, we have credit scores here, which are, I don't really agree with that either. But like in China, your credit score can go up or down for you just saying some shit that you're not supposed to say, like against the government.
If you associate with people that have
Yeah.
a lower credit score, it can lower your credit score. They have checkpoints throughout the city to go to different sides of the city, and you have to use a pass.
And that affects your score as well.
And if you have a certain score that's too low, they can prevent you from going to nicer parts of the city where your class of people is not wanted.
Communism at its finest.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And like Neef was saying, your score can drop by just being close to someone whose score is low, which is like they're trying to prevent you from interacting with someone who's a problem. But that means like you can't get on the subway, because what if someone has this? So it separates the classes.
What'll happen is the person with the lower class isn't going to be able to get on the same subway as you getting on anyway, or if they do, it's a different car, you know. And so you're not gonna want to give out a hand to somebody else in a lower class, because it will affect you. Just like people getting arrested here for feeding the homeless.
You can get arrested for that?
In certain cities in this country, you can, because you are not licensed, because our government's got to regulate every goddamn thing. You're not licensed to be distributing food.
Well, I guess they could regulate my ass. That's not ever going to stop me from feeding a homeless
Right.
person.
Yeah.
That's, you know, and I mean, it's also why a fast food, any food place, when you get done at night, you're not supposed to go give free food out, because they can still file suit on you if they get sick from it. And people be like, well, no, who would do that? Well, you'd be amazed. There's some people out there that, you know, they're like, please help me, I'm starving. and then they're going to turn around and scam you and be like, oh, it made me sick, I'm going to sue you, you know. But, you know, but most places, you just don't hand it to somebody. You know, I've worked places and we would take everything and set it out next to the dumpster in bags.
Where you know they would see it.
Obviously, it's not thrown out, but it's thrown out. And it's like, I mean, if they picked it up off the dumpster or the ground, that ain't us, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching, you know, Bill Burr, comedian. I fucking love Bill Burr. Did you see that? I might have sent it to you. But
I probably have, because I've seen almost everything he's done.
This was a recent thing. He was going off about, like, psychos run the world. And, like, he's like, the reason we got a fucking pile of trash in the ocean the size of Texas is because psychos run shit. And then you have nice people like Dr. King and that get loud and they get killed. And he's like, the only way, and I fucking love Bill Burr, because like you're not gonna hear anyone on Bill Burr's level say this, but he's like, the only way we fix this is the nice people have to kill the psychos. And nice people are nice. They don't want to kill people. But it's like that's why we're in the situation that we're in, is because nice people are not willing to pick up arms and fight the fucking lunatics that actually run shit.
Have to be like the old days, to where people were still nice, but they would not hesitate to take you out.
Absolutely.
Something that nobody agreed with.
I will nicely handle business.
I saw a T-shirt at the airport that was like, I am 1,776% sure that you will not take my guns. I was like, that's fucking great.
Clever.
But, but yeah, like, we're getting to that point. Like, we had the Boston Tea Party because no taxation without representation. And we're really overdue. Like, we thought British rule was bad. It's actually worse now. It's actually more, because of technology, it is more controlled than it was then.
Even in England, I would argue that they might actually be better off if they still just had a monarchy running it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Because they would probably be able to get away with more.
Yeah.
Things have turned out to be where, you know, we used to all be like, look, okay, we know the government's there, but we ain't really cool with them. It's kind of like the principle.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to be cool around them, but the minute, you know, class lets out, we smoking in the locker room. You know, it's all good. Now they've got the majority of the country, or the mainstream of the country, they want to smoke, but they're more interested in getting you in trouble for it than they are with getting away with it. To the extent of some people will go and get themselves in trouble for it just to get you and everybody in trouble for it.
There's certain areas of the United States where police won't go. Like, I'm not saying exclusively my neighborhood's like this, but I hear shit popping off outside I don't live in a great area. I hear shit popping off almost every single night. And then police response time is like 45 minutes later, you'll hear a siren.
Jeez.
And I'm like, I sleep like a baby knowing that, like, because I personally feel like everywhere in America should be like that. Where it's like, this is something that Neef and I have he's kind of changed my opinion on it. But, like, I feel really shitty if, like, I go to, like, Walmart, or what's a better example? Okay, like, you order food.
There's no better example than going to a store and feeling shitty
than Walmart. What I mean to say is, like, let's say, like, McDonald's, or just as an example. It's like, I feel really bad, like, if I have to, like, be a Karen, you know, where it's like, actually, you messed up my order. It's like, I don't want to do that to someone, because, like, I work a job, I work with people, and it's like, that feels bad when someone's, like, being a dick to you, but, like, here's the thing, right, is, like, they can go work somewhere else. It's like, this their job is to be between this company and the customer. They're the buffer.
Mm-hmm.
They're what stands in between there. And it's like, that way the company doesn't have to deal with the shit. They just hire someone to deal with the shit for them, to get yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, still you should be nice, treat everyone with respect. But it's like, I feel the same way about police now, where it's like, I don't respect the government, and you can go get another fucking job. You don't have to be a cop. And it's like, not all cops, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like,
ain't no holding back now. Let it out.
there's, like, I don't respect the laws of our country. Why can't I smoke weed?
It turns into, you cannot respect any police officer because they uphold laws that you cannot respect.
Yeah.
And the only way you could respect a police officer is if they act completely constitutionally, where they, as I say, they're not here, they say they're not here to protect and serve. It's been deemed by the Supreme Court. It's not a thing. The wellness checks, all this other BS that they're quote unquote for, I don't need that. What I need them to do is to catch bullets for me. Because that, I'm sorry, is what you are here to do. You are issued a vest and a firearm. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're making it in some states where you can't defend yourself even if someone comes in your own home.
Right.
It's like, if you shoot someone that trespasses in your house, you can go to jail for that.
Where's the cutoff to where you can defend yourself?
In some states, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't exist.
In California, it's got real bad.
Yeah, like...
You will go to jail, and there's a possibility that the dude you shot who stole your shit doesn't get a charge. Or if he does, he gets let out. It's
fun.
But that is politics in the judicial system.
Yeah. I think...
that's why I live in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's way better than a lot of places, for sure. I feel a lot safer with, on my street, a lot of people open carry. It's like sidearms. I'm like, I feel so safe around this. Because if there's an anecdote of a guy in Texas. You ever heard of the Darwin Awards? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this guy who made it on the Darwin Awards because he tried to rob a gun store in Texas.
Dude, he went into the gun store that was next to the jewelry. It was like a jewelry and pawn, and right next to a gun store.
Oh, was it next to a gun store?
And there was and I can understand why it threw him off, because most of those stores, and you see them around here, where they'll have gun shop, pawn shop, liquor store, whatever, but they've got bars on every window. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to decipher. And I've seen, it might not be the same one, but I saw footage of it. A dude, he walks in and he brings his gun up, and you see the hesitation that he realizes this ain't the jewelry store, but he's already committed. The dude behind the counter,
this is
two
the same thing.
patrons of the store all drew down on dude and dropped him.
Yeah.
Because he walked in and was like, everybody put, whoa. They put your hands up.
He didn't even get it out of his mouth. Like
Place.
3 different types of ammunition in this motherfucker before he hits the ground.
Yeah, only one of the people that shot him even worked there. The other 2 that shot him were customers. And they were already carrying.
I've been waiting for this day.
Yeah.
You picked the wrong day, dude.
That was my time.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that makes me feel way safer. Like, it's kind of like an easy thing. I don't know why it's so hard for some people to understand this, but...
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. But like, in the UK, in Japan, in a lot of places that have been disarmed, it's like crime rate has gone up. There's less people being killed with guns, but there's more people being killed
like a
in more brutal ways.
Getting hacked up in the street. And I'm like, honestly, I'd rather you just shoot me in the face.
So it's like...
if I'm going to have to go out and get murdered and live a couple of bullets in the head is way better than dude running screaming with a machete at me.
Yep.
So it's like, in the UK, if, you're a young woman walking down the street, what is stopping two thugs from just doing whatever they want, right? And at least in America, they'll think twice about it because you don't know what she's carrying in her bag. She might pull out a fucking Magnum and just blow a hole through you, or she might pull out a pea shooter and it's like you're gonna survive that, but you'll wish you didn't because now you have like fucking shrapnel all up inside you.
She might paralyze you for life with 2 rounds out of a 22 as she runs off and your feeling goes away. You're waiting for the cops to show.
Yeah, it's like.
I mean, in South Nashville, I mean, I watched, and I had people telling me, "Oh my God, they're gonna pass the constitutional carry law, and it's gonna be the fucking Wild West." I said, "No, it ain't." And sure enough, at South Nashville, I hardly hear a gunshot anymore, at all.
I hear shit popping off, but you know what? I don't feel in danger at all. I live in East Nashville. I don't feel in danger at all because I'm aware that what's going off is beef. That has nothing to do with me.
And sometimes when you're hearing it, a lot of times you're hearing it,
they're just shooting it in the air.
Nobody is shooting at somebody, really.
Yeah.
Somebody walked out, check out my new gun, blah, blah, or it could be some young dude. I mean, hell, I remember when we were teenagers, my buddy at his house, in the suburbs, right, and he's like, my dad got a gun, and we weren't that, like, freaked out about guns. We had new guns, but we're probably getting pretty effed up, and he was like, what if I fire a round out of the window? And I'm like, you're not going to do it, man. And, it's a 9mm in the middle of the neighborhood, and he...
Bet I won't.
And it was so loud. It was so much louder than we thought it would be. And his mom comes up the stairs, and she's like, what the hell was that? We're like, what?
Oh, you were in the house?
Yeah, yeah.
Shit.
He sticks it out the window upstairs and just pops around off toward the lake. We're smart enough to go, okay,
Oh, man. That's straight out of Jackass.
But it was so loud. We're thinking that'd be pretty loud. It was so fucking loud. She came up, and as naive as she always played things, and as much as we got away with it, I'll never forget. She was like, what was that? And he goes, I must have been a truck backfiring on the road. And she was like, that sounded like a gun. Maybe somebody shot. It sounded like it was right out back. And we were like, oh, it wasn't that loud. We were like dying.
Oh, shit.
She finally left the room, and we just lost it. We were like, oh, my God. Man, what the hell did you do?
The good old days when parents were naive.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Nashville?
I moved... this past early November.
Okay, it was like 6-7 months, something like that.
So you live in Nashville now?
Yeah, officially. Cool. I'm in Antioch.
Oh, where?
Antioch.
Y'all ain't far.
Yeah, but I don't live in Antioch.
I live in Paragon Mills.
Paragon Mills.
Well.
Which is a subdivision in Antioch.
Right.
Don't tell him that.
No, it's right on the edge of Lower Antioch.
Away from the peasants.
You didn't know there was a Lower Antioch, did you?
I think
LA.
I did, actually.
Yeah, it's LA.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's called, LA.
I'm right beside the Brentwood line, though, so it's quiet.
You're in Anti-Wood.
Anti-Wood, yeah. Brainiac. Somebody call it that.
Yep.
It's quiet. It reminds me of home. I love it.
There's Neef's working on a map right now. He's divided it. We have there's Music Shitty.
Well, it's Music City,
that
but
Instagram page?
there's a meme page called Music Shitty.
Exactly.
We like to throw that in there, but because I refuse to let New Nashville murder my beloved Music City, I'm moving her to South Nashville.
Amen, brother.
So
you got NU, New Nashville.
And then, well, what happens is Chestnut Avenue, all right? That's pretty much the line going south when you return into Music City now. When you cross the river over here, you're still in New Nashville until you hit 5th Street. And that is where least Nashville begins.
Least side.
Least side.
Least side. That's funny.
So, I mean, I went through a lot of trauma with all these changes. and watching Music City just get stabbed and beaten and just, you know.
Not like it used to be.
And I said, no, I'm picking her up, moving her. This is what's happening, y'all. I didn't really want to do this, but I have to. Sorry.
Yeah, change is inevitable, but it's never easy.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't fear change.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
Right. I feel that.
Yeah, it's changed a lot even in the time that I've been here. Like,
when did you move here?
I've been in Nashville 2020.
Interesting.
Is that right? That sounds right. Yeah,
because you had just moved here before when we started up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Actually, I had 3 episodes of the podcast in Winchester, Tennessee, and then I moved up here, like episode 4. So yeah, it was right when we started. So about 3 years ago.
It's a good thing you weren't a musician moving up here that year.
Yeah, so we started the podcast.
I've been here since '79.
Is that all?
We started the podcast, and then COVID happened. It was like, damn, everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God for Zoom.
Yeah, we used Zoom a lot in the early days. I grew up in Fayetteville, Tennessee. It's right above Huntsville, Alabama, like right above the line. And then I grew up there. I moved out when I was 18. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Really?
And I was also homeschooled. So I was very, very sheltered.
Yeah.
I just rain insanity on him daily.
Break him out of that.
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
And I moved out of my parents' house when I was 18 and moved to Columbia with a friend of mine. I was there for like 6 years, and then in Columbia, and then I moved to Winchester for 1 year, and then I moved to West Nashville and was there for 3 years. And then recently I was in Spring Hill for about 4 months.
I got a friend that lives over
there. Yeah, I was staying with some friends because my housing situation was fucked up. Basically, I had 2 days to get out of where I was, just pick up everything. And I left a lot of it. Fuck my landlord. And then I was staying with a friend for 4 months, and then I moved back up here in March. East side, least side. Excuse me. Let me say it correctly.
Ain't you close to the Cobra?
Yeah. I live like 2 or 3 minutes from the Cobra.
Cobra.
The Cobra.
I played there this past Tuesday.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Cobra's a good spot. I had my birthday party there in April.
The Cobra Cabana.
I invited like 40 people to the Cobra and didn't think about it beyond that. So there's the whole bunch of people that showed up, and then
it was like an early crowd because it wasn't that late, and that's a place on certain nights it's a late crowd kind of place. And yeah, it was like you brought the early crowd. Everybody's going like, "What the hell's going on?" And then more people started showing later.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It was fun. I only got to talk to everyone for like a second because there's so many people there, but I like introducing people to people, like making connections for other people.
Yeah,
it's fun.
That's awesome.
We have a big, despite what I just said about New Nashville and Least Side, a big part of what like we're trying to do is like unify everybody. Like
that's beautiful.
Despite what I just said. But like
basically bring back Music City.
Yeah.
Bring her back.
Like it gets really cliquey here. I don't know if you've been here long enough to notice that, but like you have like the Broadway musicians, like the cover bands.
Yeah.
And understandably so, but they're kind of looked down on by like the East Side hipsters.
The underground scene can tend to be a little bit more pretentious than even the expected to be pretentious professional scene. Because the professional scene is, there's a certain thing here. It's like, you know, everybody, not a very artistic, a very artist-driven songwriter views almost every other musician the exact same way. They're not in their mind as thinking, oh, there's a dude that just learned to play guitar and he loves to play guitar, but he's not that worried about writing stuff, and he can play great and he can play covers great, and he knows he can make his money. Which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, hell, if I could do that, I'd go do that. But personally, my convictions as a composer, I don't have the patience anymore. I've forgotten more songs than I've learned. You know what I'm saying? And for me to want to sit down and learn a bunch of covers, it's not satisfying to me on an artistic level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I put that first in that realm, where some people put the work first, you know.
That's a hard line to find.
I'm an electrical engineer. I love to research and develop devices, but I will absolutely, and that's what I do for work. I go and I do electrical engineering, I do repair work, I do design work for a lot of money, because I know I can make a lot of money doing that. And that's not the whole reason I went into it, but that was a heavy part of the reason.
Yeah.
Playing music, making money was never the reason for it. You know, when I first picked up a guitar and put my clarinet down, it was to get chicks.
Of course.
Because that's what you're supposed to do. Because I saw the other long-haired dude at school with his acoustic and like 3 chicks hanging around him at lunch, and I was like,
This next one's called Wonderwall.
yeah, that was before Wonderwall.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my skateboard going, I mean, it's cool hanging out with all you dudes over here with the skateboards, but there's no girls over here.
It's kind of a sausage fest over
Yeah,
here.
it's a little bit of a sausage fest. Homeboy's got like 8 chicks hanging on the table. You can't even sit on the table. And he's over there playing some freaking Poison cover.
Heck yeah.
Fucking Brett Michaels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's when you realize this is what I want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't want to be a hair rocker. I'm going to be a psychobilly freak out blues man.
I used to play it on Guitar Hero. Diddle-on, 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 diddle-on. Psychobilly Freak Out.
Oh, yeah.
Reverend Horton Heat.
Reverend Horton.
Hell yeah. But yeah, like you got like the cover bands, and they do really well for themselves, like make money compared to like the underground
Artist.
Yeah, like that's you know the struggling artist. It's like it's a thing, man. Like making your art and your voice is like it's hard to. Not a lot of people are able to. And it's no one's fault. Like, this is how it is.
Yeah,
but
the attitude bleeds over to the fan base, because what you end up having is, you know, the difference is if, you know, I'm putting a record together and I'm going to have to put a band together, all right? When I do that, it's going to be an expensive show because I have to pay my band.
Mm.
By expensive show, I don't mean crazy expensive, because this is going to be a show that I'm asking other bands in the scene and other people that I know in the scene to come to. I don't feel right asking them to pay a lot of money. They also don't want to pay a lot of money, but they're not going to feel right about not, quote unquote, supporting the scene.
Yeah.
All right? If I take my electric slide guitar and a pocket amplifier and go stand in Printer's Alley on a certain night, I can probably make 3 times as much money as I would at the East Room playing for all my friends.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge I would have is being able to play covers for drunk dudes walking up that are throwing 20 and 50s in my bucket and be like, hey man, play such and such. And my problem with that is I don't play such and such. I play what I play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have to have a gimmick. I have to be playing slide, because not a lot of people in town play slide like me.
Yeah.
I know that's right.
But you go down Printer's Alley, you got 100 people playing wagon wheel. You know, the dude, and it wasn't bad, but dude was doing That's All Right Mama the other day as I walked through there after lunch, and I thought to myself, I think I was on the phone with you, and I was like, wow, he's doing pretty decent version of that. I said, shit, I used to walk through here with my ukulele and play it just for the shit. It's the same song.
I got a buddy that busts a lot over there.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I know a girl that would go set up a microphone in her bass, and they'd ask her to play Stevie Nicks all fucking night, and she'd make $500-600
Yeah.
on the street.
Fortunately, I can play guitar for other artists while working on my own craft or my own art.
Yeah.
And I am super thankful for that, because I can just do music 24/7.
Yep, you're a motherfucker. Like you can play your shit, and I could very easily see you doing, like
one of the things
you can learn it. Anything.
I asked you about was because I notice and I call them gunslingers. I refer to us as gunslingers because you have a lot of good guitar players and good musicians, and you have people that can play lead. But there's a lot of people that can play other people's leads. They don't,
they can't improv.
They're not just gonna right. And that is I consider myself in that vein, but I'm a jazz musician, so
cool.
I don't say that I'm past that. It's just I'm in a different head frame now, you know. But one thing that I could tell, because I see some of your shorts are basically like you're giving tips on playing, you know, which I really admire. That's really what I'm all about, is giving back and teaching, you know. But I notice one of the things about you, and it's similar with other players that I know in bands, that you are a guitar player. Yeah. You know, you are about guitar. I am to an extent, but I also compose with so much else, play a lot of bass, you know, keys. My first instrument was clarinet, you know. So I can appreciate that, and I know that head frame.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I really, you know, picked up, because I've talked to Alex a lot about this. I appreciate his enthusiasm with a lot of players. Oh, dude, smokes, yeah, you know. But musician to musician, and when you have players looking at each other, especially in this town, it's something I try to get across. And I meet several guys that aren't, you know, that are on the level, that aren't really hung up in this, where it is an ego battle.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I call it egos and elbows. Everybody's trying to elbow each other out the way for their ego to shine. And I talk about that, you know, there's a certain level as an instrumentalist that you hit when better and best isn't a thing anymore. You know, it's what you do.
Yeah.
You know, and because as an artist, when you begin to, if you're doing nothing but learning someone else's stuff, it begins to turn into a chore. And if you're a practicing artist, and that's what I'm talking about when I see you play, I can tell you're the kind of guy that every single day you're picking your guitar up.
Yes, sir.
You know, Alex mentioned to me one day when he came over to come by my house, and I'm sitting there with a YouTube video on with a Now You Shred, you know, or other backing tracks, you know, just for 10 minutes at a time. You know, these tracks go on forever, and nobody's going to listen to you do that on stage, and I'm just ripping. Ripping, all
That's
over
true.
the
Every time I see you, you're playing something.
And he even said it. He was like, I don't know that I know anybody that just drills like you. So for one thing, you don't go to other guitar players' houses.
That's a good point.
All the time, so you don't necessarily see it. But I understand what you mean, because there are a lot of players that we know. They're great players.
Well, it's easy if you're a drummer, right? Every drummer I know, it is, you know, just when they're doing anything, they're just fucking playing something.
Yep.
And it's like, but I mean, like, yeah, like, you can tell with both of you that you practice, you drill.
Yeah,
dedicated.
I was telling him earlier that, like, there's not a lot of dudes that are gunslingers can play like you do. And, like, I was telling him, like, at the time that I talked to you, like, you're a really nice dude. You don't seem like you got to stick up your ass. You know what I mean? And that's the nice balance of, like, you can fucking shred, but you're not, like, I don't have an ego about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a little bit of discipline about you.
Yeah.
To not let it.
And that's the real
good
pros
point.
are the ones that are not going to get in a pissing match with other people.
It's pointless.
Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't do
prove
anything for you.
You make
Yeah.
a real good point.
All it does is make enemies.
Yeah.
That it is about the discipline, because when you are disciplined as a practicing musician, it's much like martial arts.
Yes.
Martial artists can kick the shit out of most anybody, but they're the least likely to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they've trained their discipline to know that this isn't about learning how to kick everybody's ass. This is learning how to not have to.
Yeah.
Whereas, same way with music as a discipline, I'm not learning this to be able to whoop everybody's ass when I go play. I'm learning this so that way, like I'll talk about with jazz, it's a happening. So that when I'm on stage or I'm in a performance and I'm playing for people and I'm giving them something, I don't ruin it. Because I don't want to do that. That's the number one thing. It doesn't matter how great I am or how great anything else is. It's not just for me.
Restraint is the greatest musical skill.
Yeah.
Well
said.
That's why when I'm by myself, I'm going ape shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because literally that's practice.
Right.
You just go nuts, and you're like, my God, what are you doing? And everybody's like, oh, it's so crazy. And you're like, you didn't hear the 20 minutes earlier when I was just, know. But, like I talk about with science, you got to shove shit to the extreme and then dial it back to really know, what you can deal with. You got to fall down. You got to go down the hill on a skateboard and get the speed wobbles and get road rash real bad before you're ever going to be able to shoot the fucking hill and look like you can carve it like a motherfucker.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've gone way too fucking fast and then fucking bailed out.
The speed wobbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
God.
Yeah, it's...
You're bringing back old Vietnam flashbacks for me. It's like
so,
getting the speedballs, then you hit a tiny pebble this big, and
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
But yeah, that's actually, it's really cool that you don't live too far. We might have to get together and jam.
Let's do it, man.
That would be so awesome for you guys to get together and jam. I want to come over and see that happen.
I'm always up for jamming with new people.
Fuck, I was gonna say something. Something.
It's coming back to you.
I had something. It'll come back to me. Do you have any pets?
Pets?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a cat that lives
Aw.
back home. Her name's Jada. She's like 14. She's old as dirt.
Wow.
But she don't act like it, though.
Well,
She's,
I mean,
of course,
14, that's up there for a cat. I mean, I've known some that have lived, on up there.
Right. She's always been an indoor cat, so she's, well taken care of and
Yeah.
stuff.
Who's your favorite superhero?
I was never like a superhero person. I guess, cliche, I'll go with Superman.
Bad choice.
The Goblin. No.
We
The
can't-
Goblin?
The Green Goblin. No.
Oh.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, I like that better than Superman. I fucking hate Superman. That's the only reason I say that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm somewhat of a Green Goblin myself.
I thought I seen a hoverboard back there, man.
Yeah.
One of them rooms.
Willem Dafoe over here.
No.
No, my gripe with Superman is that he's like too perfect. It's like, you ever see Watchmen?
I don't think so.
It was a movie from like
There's a bunch of
2008.
movies I need to catch up on.
It's an older one, but my problem with Superman is like he doesn't have any weakness. They had to give him kryptonite later on, like because originally he just was a fucking god, and he's untouchable. So they had to create like a weakness for him, but like not only is he perfect, but he's also just like a perfect person. Like he doesn't have any like moral flaws or anything. It's just like as a writer, it's just a really lazy character. Because it's like, sorry to shit on your favorite superhero, but like...
Honestly, I haven't put much thought into it.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I said,
my
I've never
buddy
been a
Bobby
superhero
always
person.
said, if kryptonite is his big thing, why doesn't... He said, I never understood why Lex Luthor just didn't get a double barrel with kryptonite shredder shells and the shit and point blank his ass because you just lodged fucking kryptonite into Superman.
He's done.
He's done.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's gonna blow his fucking back out because it's kryptonite.
Yeah. He's just in fucking pieces. He's not gonna heal from that.
Tony Montana.
Tony Montana.
Is
Well,
Say hello to my little friend.
interesting.
take a whole army to take me.
Interesting little note about that movie. Y'all familiar with it, right? The ending scene, he gets shot and he falls into the...
That's what I...
Yeah, that's actually a death.
What?
That stuntman died when that happened. You're
What?
watching a death occur.
Really?
No way. From drowning?
Somehow when he hit something, and then they're panning on him and he's laying there
I'm
floating.
gonna have to look that up. That's
I
crazy.
I think he had already passed out, but I think it's somehow when he struck the water. I don't know. Lawnmower Man. You ever see that?
Mm-mm.
Heard that film? That was a Stephen King book about Job, who was.
Huh.
And it was all about virtual reality, and that was one of the first movies that had a quote unquote VR machine, but it was one of those big gyroscope machines that you get on and you're strapped into it, and you can basically spin around like you're floating, and it can put you in any direction.
When was this movie?
Oh, 90s, early 90s, I want to say. And they had this machine built, and one of the stuntmen on it, they were laying on it, getting ready, and it jolted, and it like whipped, and it snapped his neck.
Shit.
Yep, just like that. And they were like, oh, what happened? Oh. And they said like his name, and they were like, Billy, oh God, all run over there.
What do you do when you're not playing guitar all the time?
Man, listening to records, sleeping.
In other words, he's
nothing.
pretty much always playing guitar.
Yeah. I mean, I respect that answer. Just fucking dedicated to your craft, man.
I've always had a hard time with that answer. Like, well, what do you do besides guitar? I'm like, well, I mean, I like, I guess, shooting. I like,
We should go to the range
fishing.
sometime. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like watching boxing.
Oh hell yeah! Do you like MMA too, or just boxing?
Mostly just boxing.
Yeah.
And also like some racing, but like F1, particularly like old stuff because they don't do it like they used to.
I'm a fan of Formula One myself because that's an engineering thing.
And in particularly, I'm a big Ayrton Senna fan. He was the best of them all.
Formula One?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear what you said.
Ayrton Senna.
All right.
I like boxing too, but to me it's like and as a boxing fan you'll probably understand this, but like boxing is so much more brutal than MMA.
It's like, yeah.
And
absolutely.
Cuz like MMA is fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. Like couple rounds and then like it's over. I mean, I've seen tons of fights that go till the time, but they have to cut it off because like
boxing
or even
usually doesn't get called as often as an MMA fight where the ref is like, all right, you're done.
Yeah, boxing just goes.
They can get the crap beat out of
It's
them.
like a street fight.
Yeah, I love watching boxing, but it's like a train wreck where I'm like, fuck, because like
boxing depends.
It's so much long-term damage, like because you're going for like what 8 rounds sometimes.
It depends. You got 8, 10, 12.
12 rounds?
Yeah, 12-round heavyweight, championship fight is 12 rounds. Actually, even in MMA, it's 5 rounds for title matches.
Yeah.
Instead of 3. And
boxing, I knew MMA is 3, or at least the UFC is 3 and 5.
Heavyweight boxing, I think they even do 15 rounders. They used to do 15 rounders.
Jeez, man.
Gives you a whole new respect for them.
Oh yeah.
Them old heads.
That's cardio, man.
Well, that and you have the difference. The extreme difference in weight class with boxing, where when you watch featherweight and lightweight and welterweight, stuff like that, they're jabbing the crap at each other and it's fast.
Mm-hmm.
Bouncing. When you watch a heavyweight fight, it might end up being the most boring fight you've ever seen in your life because they'll come out and they'll win themselves throwing haymakers in the beginning and next thing you know they're hugging for 10 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even like when you're at a high level, it's like you're chess boxing. It's very strategy.
That is the reason why Tyson, when he came out, was such an anomaly. Because it wasn't just that he would knock motherfuckers out before the goddamn first round. It was that he came out of the fucking corner like a pit bull that just got let off his chain.
Mm-hmm.
There was no, I'm going to dance around, we're going to do a show, this for the people. No, it was, I'm going to come and eat your fucking children.
Yeah.
And scream praise Allah and talk some crazy shit and tell you some wacky shit in a press conference like, I'm going to fuck you till you love me.
Tyson's a monster.
Praise be the God.
Yeah, praise be Allah.
And it's like kind of the opposite of like someone like Ali, who is just so fucking technical and like flawless movement, like footwork.
Ironically, Ali was Mike Tyson's idol.
Yeah.
Probably the only boxer that he really actually looked up and
That's so funny because they have such a different game they play.
You see interviews, anytime Tyson's talking about him, he's either like tearing up or he's just talking about him. You know?
Mad respect. Almost any other boxer. I mean, there's a couple of other old heads that he'll bring up in philosophy, but he don't get flapped like about any other boxer because he crush them all. Yeah. There's an interview, I want to say it was Arsenio Hall had them on back when I was a kid.
Yep.
And he's got Ali,
Sugar Ray,
and Tyson. Was Sugar Ray on that? And yeah, that's right. And Ali, you know, he was very, I mean, he was still cognitive, but he had a stroke and shit, so he didn't talk really well. And I mean, you look at Mike, and it's one of the first times you see him in an interview, especially back in the time when he was young and he was hot, where he's just like humbled and like happy, like, oh my God, you know, this is fucking, you know, and Ali even says, he's like, he pantomimes and says, you know, because I think Arsenio's asking him, you know, how do you feel about seeing Tyson box today? You know, how do you think he'd fare? And Ali even said, he was like, if he hit me, I'd be out. You know, and Tyson's just like, oh, and he's actually humbled by it. Yeah. And he's like, oh, no, you were the greatest. You were the greatest. And he's like, no, he hit me out. Like, he recognized that Tyson was that fucking badass. Ali even was just like, no, this dude is fucking insane.
And that's at the highest level of skill. That's how tradesmen really act with each other. Is just like bowing to each other.
Yep.
I know I'm great, but in this situation, every head must bow, whatever the line was.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did say.
Every tongue must confess this is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a brutal force of will, but also humble, and when he's before his idols and his gods, it's like that's.
You know, I feel sorry for Tyson, man. That guy can't go anywhere in public.
What do you mean?
People just will not leave him alone.
Really?
Yes.
You like in a picking on him way, or like just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now, it's
the thing on the airplane.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that was bad.
What happened?
Yeah, that's been a while. Dude kept messing with him, like, and his buddy was, you know, him and his buddy was like, oh, dude, it's Tyson, and he went over and started fucking with him.
He turned around and
beat the piss out of dude on the plane, and they couldn't do anything about it because he touched him. He like reached up and was, I don't know if he smacked him or did some silly shit. And Tyson's like, dude, fuck off. You know, he's like, what the fuck is, you know, and dude, I don't know if dude was drunk. You see him, you know, like at the beginning of the video looking at his buddy, and he's like, oh, dude. And then like a little bit, you see after the clip of him, you see Tyson turn around just a little bit later, because you don't get full video. It like turned off, and then a little bit later, you see dude sitting there like waiting for the plane to land, and he's just swolled up and silent, just like, I don't know why I just did that.
It's like watching a video of a drunk guy poking a bear.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. It's not that bear's fault if he just rips you in half right now.
You know.
Jeez.
But
who's your favorite poets?
Oh, that's a good question. I actually really don't like.
favorite.
I just talked about how humble you are. I'm very pretentious. I don't like traditional poetry. I think it's so like
bland.
Like bland and like, what are you saying? I just read this, but I don't. What? Fucking what? And like people that are really into poetry, they'll be like, oh no, like he's trying to explain this thing and thing.
His art, emotions. Whatever.
Yeah, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, so like a lot of my I can show you some later, but like a lot of what I do is like I don't rap, but it has like when you read it, you can hear the flow.
It has a flow.
He writes gangster rap like me.
Except it's like written. You know, it's not spoken. So
I sing, I don't rap, but I'll write gangster rap.
So like a lot of poets will write out of like sorrow, a lot of my shit is really aggro and aggressive. It's like me exercising demons. It's like
gangster rap.
Yeah, yeah. It's gangster rap and poetry. And it's...
Come up to your job, hit you while you work, and for certain.
And to me, like, the fact that it's not audible, like, it's not music, and this is not to look down on music at all, but I think it has, like, being in Nashville and not being a musician, and certain people still know my name, gives me a certain degree of pride, because it's like, this is Music City.
Absolutely.
And it's like, I'm an artist in Nashville that doesn't make music, and it's
damn right, it's Music City.
And yeah, no, I don't really like a lot of poetry. So my favorite poet, I do like Poe. Poe's good.
Oh yeah.
I like H.P. Lovecraft. People don't really treat him like a poet, but he is.
All of Metallica's songs about like Cthulhu and all that stuff.
Yeah, the old gods.
The Thing That Should Not Be is probably one of my favorite tracks of theirs.
Man, who else?
Immortal.
It's one of their heaviest too.
Yes.
There's that one you and Bob really like. The one you were trying to get us to do on the book club. That guy is good.
Henry Miller.
Henry Miller's good. The stuff of
I guess he was a poet, but he was really more of an author.
Oh, another... yeah, I guess I don't like traditional poetry, so the ones I'm going to name are not people you'd think of as poets. But Hunter S. Thompson, I think, is... What he writes is fucking beautiful. You said you don't...
Or I know the name.
Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. That movie. That's based on him. He was a journalist, but the way he writes shit is just really interesting.
He wrote a lot for the Rolling Stone, and he wrote a lot of heavy political commentary in some of his books. Like Fear and Loathing, a lot of people don't realize that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is just one of many things. He did Fear and Loathing on the campaign trail. You know, I mean, he's done books where he's writing about when he would go on these journalist assignments. And some of them were pretty heavy duty, where he would be rubbing elbows with some high up people. So he got privy to some crazy information, and he would write this shit out in his books. And nobody knew if he was fucking being truthful or not, but there's no reason he wasn't, you know, he would be lying, you know. And he's a wild dude, you know. He's not necessarily
sounds cool.
Yeah, it's like he's like one of those cool, you know, it's gonzo journalism. It's like, it is what it is. But a lot of people who know of him and know of his work and like his work would probably not have gotten along with him. Or maybe not have liked him as a person.
I'm sure he was not fun to hang out with.
Or not necessarily even agreed with him politically.
Why not?
Because he was...
Like an extremist?
He was a gun nut. His burial wishes was his remains or ashes to be loaded in a cannon and shot. And that's what they did.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Who paid for that to get built?
And I think his estate did.
Okay.
Because he had it in his will. He wanted to be cremated and his ashes be loaded in this fucking cannon, I think on his property or in a certain spot. And they did it. They fired it off.
Yeah. I was, like, the stuff I make is, like, really to the point. Like, there's not any,
no guesses about
it. It's not vague. Like, it's very explicit what I said in a very direct, deliberate way. Yeah.
Do you have anything, like, published as far as that goes?
I post everything I write on Instagram.
Nice.
Like, I got my podcast page and I have my personal page. I'll send you a link to it.
Yeah.
I'm also working on a book that I, basically, it's a fantasy novel. I really love, I read a lot. We do a book club on the podcast too. Once a month we read a different book. But, I really love high fantasy. Like, I'm not such a big fan of the show, but like the Game of Thrones books, Song of Ice and Fire, I really love those. The author of those is I'm a really big fan of his.
Cool.
But I'm working on this novel right now, and as I write it, I post it so like everyone can like kind of follow me with how like as I'm writing this book, like as it goes.
Don't forget that screenplay you're writing for me too.
Oh yeah, I'm working on a screenplay for Neef. He's doing more video work now.
For my short films.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a 5-minute film that I'm writing a script for.
Nice.
If
you need music for that, hit me up.
Yeah.
And I love making like jingles. That's what I wanted to do before I even started playing, was make like soundtracks for movies and jingles for commercials.
That's money, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's literally after. It's kind of funny. I'm putting this record out and virtually retiring from putting records out of my own like that, because it's it's whatever to me, and I can, if I want to write something and do it, I can just write and record it myself.
Yeah.
Because most of my catalog that I have of not my stuff, of just stuff I worked on, is all that. It's music, television, jingle, soundscape, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, love it.
And that's what I'm getting into now, is getting synced up, and so I can just get up every day and hash out a couple of numbers and sell them to AstraZeneca.
Yeah, for real.
You know.
I've dabbled with that, and I definitely want to get more into that as well, because it's so lucrative. It's insane.
We'll definitely have to sit down and have a chat sometime.
So I have one more question for you.
What you got?
This is something I ask everyone, so don't feel put on the spot. What do you think, or not, what do you think happens if we already asked you that? When was the last time you cried?
Last time I cried, I was 5 years old.
Never.
The way you answered that was actually great.
Yeah.
I love it.
The doctor pulled me out and I slapped him and he cried.
Yeah. No. I'm still looking for him. No. I don't know, maybe yesterday, I guess. It's usually like with a song, like I don't expect it to hit me a certain way, and it does. I'm like cutting onions over here, man.
Yeah. You don't remember what song it was?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's random.
Yeah.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World is one of those songs that does it for me, which...
That is a good track.
Yes. There's actually a story behind that. I don't know if we have time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll keep it brief. So, there was this chick I knew, and I liked her a lot. And long story short, we tragically parted ways. And
been there.
Driving back home from her service, something told me to turn the radio on, because I needed to clear my head really bad at that particular time.
From her service?
Yeah.
She tragically parted ways.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So I turned the radio on, and the only song in the whole world that could have brought any kind of peace had just started playing. And it was Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Nice.
So, if I go a while without hearing it, and then I'll hear it, like, on my playlist or whatever, and, like, it doesn't always hit me that hard as it did the first time, but I still get chills.
Yeah.
My condolences, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's rough.
And that's what I was talking about earlier, when my focus was shifted from just strictly to guitar playing to strictly songwriting.
Yeah.
And also singing.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of thing that will definitely spark something.
Mm-hmm. Good times.
Well, that's a great promo for
Escapism.
Yeah. Alice, check out Sidney Mays. There is a link below. Definitely check out Escapism. And then you're playing July 1st in Perry County.
Buffalo River Resort.
And then August 18th.
At the Mule Day.
Mule House. Day.
That's where it's at, Mule House, yeah.
And, we'll see you next time.
See ya.